What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And I have some new news concerning Bob Arum. Top-ranked CEO says this about Anthony Joshua. He says that Joshua is not going to overcome Pulev. Bob Arum makes a bold prediction ahead of the Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev fight. And he had this to say in detail. He says that, what does he say? There you go. He says, I keep telling people, and I mean it, that Joshua is not going to overcome Pulev. Joshua has to be suspect. Forget his victory over Ruiz in Saudi Arabia. I mean, Ruiz disgraced himself with the condition he came in at. Boxing Arum said to Boxing Scene. So shouts out to them. Of course, we know the saga of Joshua Ruiz, then Ruiz Joshua, right? And we know what happened. There were two types of fights. The first fight was by far the most exciting because you had multiple knockdowns. You had Joshua knocking down then Ruiz knocking down Joshua 4 more times after that, stopping it in the 7th round. And then we had the rematch where Ruiz came in heavier, but Joshua was the one that outboxed Ruiz. Wasn't as exciting, but equally impressive due to the adjustments that Anthony Joshua made for the second fight. Now, to certain people like Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, at times, Bob Arum, that was not good enough. Okay? So they're not impressed with that at all. Okay? And according to Bob Arum, he says to totally forget about the rematch with Andy Ruiz because, for one, he doesn't like Andy Ruiz anyway. You know, he thinks he's a garbage fighter. He thinks he's not a top 10 fighter anyhow. That's what Bob thinks. But, of course, he used to be with Bob, and I think there was some bad blood between him and Bob, me personally. But according to Bob, he says because Andy Ruiz came in heavier than usual, he weighed in at a whopping 283.7 pounds. Okay? And he said that that's what Ruiz did to disgrace himself by coming in and not coming in with the conditioning. Well, okay, to counterpunch this with another legend in the game, Teddy Atlas. And Teddy Atlas had this to say. He said that the weight did not matter at all, which a lot of people thought that was a factor, that he couldn't move around, you know, and I thought about that, and I first thought that until I saw it again. Ruiz didn't even attempt to do what he needed to do to even make that fight winnable for himself. Okay, it's a difference between not having the ability to do something, you know, or failing at what you know how to do. He wasn't doing anything. He was pretty much standing in the middle of the ring. At times, he would try to go to the body, or he would jab upwards, or he would throw a right hand. And when Joshua would clinch, he would whack him behind the head. Or when Joshua got close, he would whack him behind the head. But at no time did he have, or did you see in his game plan, Ruiz's game plan, that he was able or was trying or making an effort to cut the ring off. Okay, he was not doing that. He was not circling to that person when that person was trying to circle out. He was not doing any of that. Okay, so you could say it first prematurely, like I did, people, that hey, he came in too big. He couldn't move the way he needed to move to cut off the ring. However, if he knew how to cut off the ring, you would have at least seen him attempt to cut off the ring. You know what I mean? You don't see a person that doesn't know how to do something versus what a person knows what to do and attempts to do it and can't do it because he doesn't have the wind or the endurance or the stamina to do so. He wasn't doing any of that. So it's not like Ruiz was doing all the right things until he got tired because he was a big dude. Okay? He did gain a lot of weight. But as I told people, he gained weight anyway just to stay in there with Joshua because Joshua was so big. Okay? So with what Bob is saying, it's like, hey, it's one of those things where you have a fighter that expects a fighter to fight one way. They see how a fight goes, how it went. They thought that all that fighter had to do, or all that fighter had, was, okay, he's going to come in and try to knock me out, but I'm going to catch him because my hands are faster. So therefore, I'm going to do that again, no problem. I'm going to get twice as much money. I'm going to be a superstar. I'm going to have more parades and more accolades and promotions and endorsements, and I'm going to be the man. Meanwhile, give me that Corona Extra. Cerveza es más fina. Right? The beer. Okay? Give me that. Okay? So it's like, that's what Ruiz thought. Ruiz came in heavier, thinking the more the merrier. I know what Ruiz was thinking. Now, according to Bob, what Bob's saying now is what I thought at first. Now I know that's not true. So I got to disagree with Bob. Because what he's saying is he came in heavier. And because he came in heavier, he couldn't do what he needed to do. And that's the reason why Pulev, a totally different fighter, is going to scorch Anthony Joshua. And I would say this also. If I'm Bob Arum, I know Bob Arum is promoting Kubrat Pulev, the Jenny Chouchet kissing guy, right? He's a decent fighter. He's only had one defeat, and that's to the great Vladimir Klitschko. So it is interesting, because it is interesting to see how Parker beat Ruiz, and then Ruiz beat Joshua, right? Then Joshua beat Parker. It's good to see these type of fights, because that just shows and totally kills that triangle theories don't work. So if Pulev does beat Anthony Joshua, theoretically, it would show that they don't work. You can't go on that. You can't base one fight off another fight. You can't do it. Okay? So let's just be real about it. But one thing Bob should be doing, I know he's the promoter, he should be saying how Joshua can get knocked out by Pulev. What can Pulev offer? And in this article, he's showing nothing that he's doing. He just showed, well, he has a 28-1 record. He got lost to Vladimir, but destroyed by Vladimir. Vladimir beat this dude from pillar to post. He did to Pulev what George Foreman did to Frazier, Smoking Joe Frazier, right? It was that type of beating. It just was shorter. 5 knockdowns, and the way he got knocked down, he kept going down because he could not take the punching power from Mr. Steelhammer. He couldn't do it. Does Joshua have that type of power? Well, that remains to be seen, because we don't know what type of style or mentality that Joshua's going to go in at. Okay? We just know he adjusted himself to fight Andy Ruiz, but we don't know what he will adjust himself back to. So that's always going to be the question mark with Joshua. But has he done it in the past before that Ruiz first fight? Yes, he has. He's came in and did what Vladimir Klitschko does, but in his own way. So, but Bob is, Bob is just saying that he feels that Pulev will do much better than Ruiz. Maybe he's trying to hide something or some secret weapon. Let's hope that's the case. But at the end result, based on what we see and based on what he's telling us in this interview, that Pulev is going to beat Joshua because Ruiz beat Joshua. And he thinks that Pulev's better than Ruiz. These guys haven't fought, so how do we know? But again, that doesn't matter anyway, because this is Pulev and Joshua. Not Joshua Ruiz. So anyway, 2 different styles, 2 different fights. Bottom line. That's my counterpunch on that, guys. You guys tell me what you think about Bob Arum's statements. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.